Welcome to The Next Big Star, hosted by James Kelly and Ninon de Rosa. Hello and welcome to The Next Big Star. I'm your host, James Kelly. My co-host is Ninon de Rosa.
Oh, you're good. You've got the accent going there, James.
Yeah, and our guest is Dennis Keating.
That's correct.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
Hi, thank you.
And you also go by Satchmo.
Dennes D'Satchmo Keating.
Dennis D'Satchmo Keating. And you're going to tell us why. Introduce yourself, Dennis.
Well, I'm Dennis D'Satchmo Keating, and I'm a Louis Armstrong tribute artist and much, much more. I can sing in my regular voice. I can sing in Louis Armstrong or any song that he's done in the past.
Okay.
And any song that's out that I try to learn today. I can do my voice and go into Satchmo, the next word, the next note, the next line, whatever.
Yeah, they kind of run off your tongue. They kind of, you change, there's no difference. It kind of, brum, 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 brum.
Right.
You're amazing.
Right.
We're going to hear you in a little bit.
People look at me and they look at me on stage, and if I go into my voice at the beginning of a song and then change it to Louis's voice, which is still my voice, but I try to do Louis, and they look at me, there's like, is he lip syncing? Is there someone else doing that? They're amazed that I can do both.
No, it's you. No, it's
Dennis.
Me. It's Dennis.
It's me. For a kid that stuttered all the way through 18 years old, every other word.
Oh, were you bullied in that?
Oh, yes.
I imagine.
Yes.
I can just imagine what
and I
kids
was
are doing.
also bullied because I didn't follow the music that my classmates were growing up with, the late 70s. I followed all the big bands. And there was one concert I went to in New York City, and it was 3 big bands. It was Woody Herman and his Thundering Herd, Buddy Rich and his Killer Force, and Maynard Ferguson and his big band. Across the street, they had Jethro Tull. So I went back to school that Monday, and I'm wearing one of the big band shirts, and all the classmates that went to New York are wearing Jethro Tull shirts. So it was difficult for me to speak, let alone get out what I did. And I said, so what instrument does Jethro Tull play? And they looked at me and they says, Jethro Tull's a band. It's not a person. But it sounded to me like somebody's name. So
Yeah, it does sound like a name.
It does.
So it was one of those crazy things. Yeah. And since then, I've been blessed with basically doing Louis Armstrong probably from the early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
How long have you been in the music business?
I've been in the music business on and off since 1985 is when I moved to Las Vegas. And I decided in 2011 to take an early retirement from Clark County. I was the transportation supervisor at McCarran and pursue music. There was an open chair in a band in California. So I went there and did that for a while. Then I had 3 surgeries, so put off trumpet playing for a little bit. I substituted with French horn because my arm was in a sling, so that worked out perfectly.
Oh, well, cool.
Hang in there.
Yeah, any way you can.
And then I moved to New York, and I started to do music in New York. Late 2016, my youngest son was living out here, and he had some personal issues, so I came out here to support him, and I haven't left yet.
That's amazing. You know what I love about what you just said, Dennis, is that you actually took over your dream. You let everything slide by. You let, working here, doing this. You actually did what you really love. And look what it's turned into.
Correct. I was one-time retail manager. I worked for a construction company. I did insulation. I was with the company that did the insulation at the Mormon Temple.
Okay.
Well, you're a Mormon, huh?
No, we were the only non-Mormon contractor that was able to work, but we couldn't work until they had morning prayer.
Yeah.
And then I've done county work, and I was also an elected official for the Nye County School Board, and I was asked to be
do we need you now?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was asked to be the legislative chairperson for all 17 Nevada districts, just based off my first year out as school board member of the year for the entire state, which was amazing.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't know there was 17 districts in Nevada. That seems like an awful lot. I always think of Nevada being very small.
I'm sure it's
not.
still 17. It might be 16. You know, I'm getting older, so I might have added one.
Memory loss. But you have not lost the memory of Louis Armstrong.
No. He needs to live on. And anyone that's basically over the age of 2 or 3 has heard Louis Armstrong before. Anywhere from a TV commercial to Toy Story to many other movies that are out there to this day. And
well, we know that Terry Fader does his impersonation of that in his show.
Terry does a wonderful job.
Yeah, he does.
I see cheese again.
I don't know how he does it. I can't do what he does.
No, you do it better.
I like Terry's, though. I
like Terry, too. He's a great guy, actually.
I didn't even open my mouth there. I tried to do a ventriloquist thing.
Oh, because that's what he does, yeah. I don't know how he does that either. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, you don't even see him when he does it. He's just
great talent.
When are all these talents coming back,
Yeah,
James?
that's what we want to talk a little bit about. What's it been like for you, Dennis?
It's been really, really slow. I've tried to go around to assisted living facilities and 55-plus communities, and I've even done some performance performances outside their windows. If they can open a window, if they can get wheeled to the window, or if they're just staying in bed, I know they're there. And that entertainment gives me back so much more, especially during these difficult times and the COVID and all that other stuff.
Especially the older, the seniors. I mean, they've had it really, really bad because no one can come there. Even their own family can't even come that close, except, as you said, outside a window.
Correct.
So when you turn up and you start singing, they must be elated, huh?
I get so much more back, and that's what it is. Being an entertainer is you're gifted in some way, or you learned to be proficient at what you do, and it's all about entertaining, giving back to the community, because you get back so much more. And I'm blessed 10 times over. And my kids are like, Dad, can't believe you do that. I says, well, education was important to me, which is our youth and our future and the people that paved the way for us.
How many children do you have?
3 grown children.
Okay, what do they do? Are they in the music business?
No, but they're all musically talented.
Okay.
My oldest son now switched careers. He is the head baker, chef, manager currently at Italy in Manhattan.
Okay.
And he's going to take over their flagship store and turn that around, and they have corporate plans for him. My daughter's a wonderful, wonderful young girl who has not been working the last few years. She's raising our soon-to-be 8-year-old granddaughter and soon-to-be 5-year-old grandson. And she'll be getting back into teaching once they relocate from Sitka, Alaska, back to Montana.
Oh, okay.
And my youngest is one of those computer whizzes, and he helps organize and put together glass conventions that are out here in Las Vegas, and they have one coming up, I think, in May, and it's going to be smaller scale than it used to be. And he will also be moving. He's moving to Michigan. He met a lovely young girl. She's a photographer, videographer, and she also owns a Little Caesars Pizza, and having a house built in Michigan, and it'll be there. He's moving in July, and the house will be ready in August.
What a great thing for a young couple.
Yeah.
You know, they've both got great jobs. They're both
it's
doing
great.
good, and they're building it up together.
And
How cool is that?
And like my dad used to say to all his daughter-in-laws is, she's too good for my son. But no, they deserve each other.
Yeah, there you go. That always happens, doesn't it?
They're
Well,
amazing.
So you've got to be very proud of your children and your family.
Yes.
Now, what
and-
about the wife?
and-
Is there
and-
a wife around?
Yes, and I didn't do it all alone. Now, ex-wife, Julie, she lives in Alaska, and she was the most remarkable mother, and I believe the kids are successful to this day because of us reading when they were inside our womb. When they were born, we read. When they were old enough, we read to them, they read to us, and before you know, they're reading the siblings, and reading is the foundation to success in anything.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm a huge advocate of that.
Well, you're an author.
I have aspects of writing the radio show. I'm an author. We have 1 million books in 100 days, which we're getting ready to launch April 15th.
Great.
And that's for self-published authors to get handheld books back into the hands of kids
Yes.
and adults.
Yeah,
It's time
there's-
that they learn what a book really is instead of just a tablet.
And that's important. One of my platforms when I was running for school board was video games and all that technology are good for hand-eye coordination and many things.
Yeah,
but
but-
reading is what we need to get our children involved in. And I didn't care if they read a sign on the side of the road, they read a comic strip, or they read the newspaper, as long as
They're reading
Well,
something.
they were
reading.
reading something.
Absolutely.
Well, I just had
That's the
that
most
woman
important.
on today, Marion, and she wrote a book, Agent Orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, Agent Orange, you know what that's all about.
Absolutely.
You know,
Vietnam War,
and,
yeah.
She's doing very well with it, but she's letting people know, another book coming out that you might like, James.
Yeah, I think I
Talk
might
about-
have her on my show,
Yeah,
Aspects of Writing.
Yes,
yeah.
she's got a fabulous story.
Yeah.
Great
yeah.
story.
I think everybody might like to read that book, and maybe that's something we can get into the high schools, too,
Oh, it would
as
be
a
great
reading.
for the high schools.
She's actually going to be participating in 1 million books in 100 days.
Is she?
Nice.
Yes.
Oh,
uh-huh.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, good,
So,
good,
yeah,
good.
she'll be one of the authors on there.
Oh, fabulous.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
She's
yeah.
a great friend. She's been a good friend of mine for many years.
Oh, really?
She came when I started doing Vegas Live with Ninon.
Uh-huh.
She came into my show and just sat there and watched. 2 of them, which was her husband, he passed away since. They were sitting there watching, and then one day I said, sometimes I have people in the audience come on the show, and I had them on the show.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Lovely.
Well, what is going on with the artist community right now? We're in a stage now to where we can have 2/3 of attendance, I believe.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you this. I went down to Area 15 here in Las Vegas yesterday to do some research, and I'd never been there. First of all, it's fantastic. It's unbelievable. But secondly, that place was packed, and I know there's no way that was within the parameters that they've set for us. Although everyone was wearing a mask, I will say that. I don't even think you could enter if you weren't wearing one. But anyway, that place is buzzing like you wouldn't believe. I could hardly find a parking spot. And I'd never been there. I didn't know what it was about.
I've never been there.
Right.
They have a gigantic theater in the back, which was what I was there for.
Wow.
And then they have a huge outside arena thing they have as well. We couldn't see that yesterday because of something going on. But the inside is just unbelievable. So anyway, I'm not trying to give them a plug, but I'm just saying they are hopping. And that's why I was thinking, how sooner do you think we're going to come back? Do you have any news tips for us? Or?
No, I wish I had the answer on the Magic 8 Ball or from people out there that are in the know, although I am pretty knowledgeable with what's going on with our government here locally and in the state. I don't see anything opening up on a large scale for another several months. However, I've noticed the same thing you did, but at other venues where it didn't look like there was 50% or now 75%, they look pretty well
100%.
packed.
Well, I spoke with someone from one of the major casinos this last week about the theaters they have there, and they are not opening until the end of the year for sure. I really don't understand exactly why or what that's about, because they could literally have 2/3 occupancy right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if maybe they think it's just not cost effective. The reason I want to bring that up is because it does affect you and other artists out there. We know someone jointly who had 20 gigs planned just before COVID hit and lost all of them.
Everything.
Due to that.
Well, that's the story to most of the entertainers. They lost it all of it. Had a lady who had 3 gigs in Los Angeles, and each one fell through. It was especially Los Angeles.
So that's a huge part of the income for that community.
It is
it is the income for that community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we're not just talking about musicians and singers. We're talking about performers like for Cirque du Soleil, and I understand some of those shows aren't coming back.
Right, and all the tech people that are involved.
And the tech people, we
ushers.
forget about that. Yeah.
And then you've got the servers, and then you've got the managers. You've got
the bar people. Oh wow! We're talking about it. It really
we're talking about
hard.
Probably 75% of our community out here, at least in Clark County, because we're such a big service-related industry.
Yeah, because the hotels and everything. So that's the end. They're all closed. Well, not all closed now, but they're doing quite well. Caesars is quite busy. A lot of them are quite busy. Are you going to give us a song?
Just
James,
a bit.
Can we hear a little bit of
Just
Louis?
a bit.
Do you have a request?
A Wonderful World.
Okay.
Well, everyone's going to request that, but I love that one.
Acapella.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to take out my prop because I can't sing like Louis unless I have this in my hand.
There's the spirit.
That's got to happen.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Sit back and enjoy.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
How's that?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yay, thank you. Thank you so much.
So, Dennis, give me an idea of how your career has progressed since you started in the industry, and where do you want it to go?
I definitely want it to go one of 2 places, and maybe 2 places. Why not? First place, I would love to be on a big showroom stage here in Las Vegas or anywhere else in the world. I've been considering doing a one-man show on the life of Louis Armstrong.
Like a play?
Wow.
Why don't you do that?
That would be amazing.
I'm still investigating his life and everything about it because I would definitely have to do that in first person.
That would be fabulous.
I think that would be something.
That's
never done.
I will help you write that if you want.
Okay.
Because I've written a couple plays.
Sounds great.
So I can help you with that.
Then I just need to memorize.
It's
lines.
not even so much memorizing as long as you know the content.
Okay.
Because once you know the content, it's like the shows we do. Some of my shows I script, but I really don't read it verbatim.
Okay.
No.
It's just something to go by. And as long as you know how the storyline flows, you know how to tell the story. You just have to be a storyteller, really.
There you go.
That's
Which
one
is
way
a
of
beginning, a middle, and
an
an
end.
That's
right.
what it is.
A lot of people do memorize verbatim, and you can if you want, but
I don't.
Yeah, I think being a jazz musician, there'd be a lot of improvisation.
Yeah. But that's
probably, you, though.
And
that
would
brings you out, so that's cool.
And it would make it different each show, too. So that would be fun, I think. Someone comes back to see you again. They're seeing the same thing, but it's still a little different.
Right. And what got me thinking of that type of venue was when I was living in Pahrump, Nevada. In the summer, we used to have chautauquas.
Okay.
Which are people portraying historical figures back in time.
Oh, okay.
And then they have a Q&A after their performance. And the whole idea behind that is they need to answer all their questions that are given to them on the whim in first person.
Wow.
Really? Yeah, that's like an improvisation that we have. There's a big show down in Newport Beach where they have pictures come alive.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever seen that?
No,
I know. I've heard about it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, that's in Newport Beach, and they have this beautiful big scene of like maybe 10 people in this picture. and you see the picture, and you slowly see them. They all come alive, and that's something which is a sort of same as what you're talking.
I know what you mean. It's like a silhouette type thing,
Yes.
and they come together and they can make different images. They were on America's Got Talent, by the way.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you know that's incredible what they do. Yeah,
how they do.
See,
all
I've tried to approach here in town. Now they're not doing much either legend in concert. But they want a true impersonator. I'm not an impersonator because I don't look anything like Louis. I'm a tribute artist.
Yes.
So my spiel or whatever it was to them was have me behind the screen as a silhouette for my first song.
Oh, okay.
And
That
for
would
the
be
second
good.
song for like 30 seconds. And then you raise the screen and then there I am. And
Which would be a shock to people.
Right, and then
because you obviously are not the same nationality as
Right.
he is.
And then once I finish that second song, I can say hello to the audience in my voice.
In
And
your
they're going to
voice.
say, what the heck's going on?
And then
Right,
you start
right.
singing a song in your voice.
Then I start singing my voice and going into Louis so they know it's me singing.
Right. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I don't see anything happening with Legends, but cruise ships, when they reopen, that would be a nice 45-minute
They
show.
say they're not opening till November now. They're not starting up.
Well, we're hoping we can get you involved in something I'm doing in the future
I
for
will
a benefit.
certainly
So-
be
Yes.
available unless I'm on tour somewhere.
Unfortunately, you'll be available because of what's going on in the city.
Unfortunate.
That's the sad thing is that we're not going to have a problem getting entertainers because there's so many out
And
there
everybody's
right now.
willing to come out
Oh,
and do
yeah.
anything for nothing.
Absolutely.
They don't mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to be out there.
Well, and to help
To help what we're
different
doing.
causes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For the
Yeah.
cause, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cause is important.
Yeah, and I find out you know a lot of people I know through the grapevine.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope
So it is a small town. Vegas is 2.5 million people. But in reality, this is a very small
town.
network of people here.
And when I moved here, there were like 250,000 people.
Yeah, because I left in 1985 and came back in 1996.
Oh, yeah. So we were
And-
at least 1.5 million by
Yeah.
then.
So when I left, it was a
When
quarter
you
million
left, they
people.
all came in.
Or maybe they followed me back
They
from
followed you
Atlanta.
back.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I must have followed you back because I came back in 2016. The story about my son didn't exist.
Yeah.
I heard you were back in town.
Yeah, there we go.
Mackey's back in town. Oh, yeah.
Back in town. Let's go with him.
No, you know, Vegas is interesting because I know when I left, I thought, I'll never go back to Las Vegas. But there's something that draws you here.
Oh.
I don't even know how to explain it.
Definitely is, because when you go away, even for a weekend, I can't wait to get back.
Yeah.
I think it's the 24-hour day lifestyle. Whether you do it or whether you don't, it's there.
Just knowing you can.
Yes.
I can get up at
You
3
know.
o'clock and do whatever I want to do.
Go meet with friends, go have a drink, go
Yes.
have breakfast, go have
Absolutely.
dinner, whatever it is you
Yeah.
want. Yeah, but Vegas has always been an interesting city. How long have you been here now, Ninon?
Oh, I've been coming back and forth since the 80s, actually.
Okay.
But I moved here in 2012.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm new. I'm a new one.
All right. Yeah, I originally moved here in 1978.
Got married here.
I was a baby.
I was married. I got married here. 1979.
Look at that. Nice.
Yeah, no, I moved here in 78, and it was a very interesting community at that time because the tourists thought we lived in the hotels. They'd say, so where do you live? Which hotel?
Which
and it's
hotel
like,
do you live in?
I actually don't. I live in a house because you didn't see a whole lot of the city back then.
We didn't
Right.
see a lot of people either. 'Cause
No.
They were all on the strip.
Right. You used to drive over the mountains from California and you saw the entire strip. All the hotels, the big pink
Yeah.
flamingo,
Yep.
the showboat, all those. It was unbelievable.
Absolutely.
It was really
Yeah.
glamorous. But it's changed a lot.
It's still glamorous. It's just more
It
glamorous.
is.
It's more lights and a lot of glamour.
Yeah,
but
now
it's
you got
not
to be
so intimate.
You have to be standing in front of the hotel to
Yes.
soak in the glamour now, or go
Yeah.
inside one of the hotels.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a different city.
But it's an open city for the entertainers.
Yeah,
Or
and
was.
it was. What do you think's going to happen when it comes back? I actually see it reverting a little bit back to the good old days. We used to have a lot of the lounge shows, and a lot of big performers performed in those lounge shows, by the way. So I see a little bit of that coming back to where you're seeing some of the lounge acts come back now because they're going to slowly reopen and try and reacclimate the tourists back into all of this. I actually think this could turn things around a little bit in Vegas to where you're going to see more lounge acts.
They say that.
Other than just the big shows.
You're right. They say that. They say
Yeah.
the lounge shows are coming back, and I think that would be beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
You would be a great lounge show.
And thank you. And that's what Vegas was when I came out here. It was all about the lounge shows.
Right.
And vintage Vegas. And it would be nice to see vintage Vegas come back, as Zoe Bowie calls me, vintage Vegas, which is nice. But I'd like to see him come back.
Bowie is an incredible performer.
Absolutely.
Okay, he's like a showroom.
Right. He needs to come back, hit that heavy.
Little
And
cabaret
you know,
show, I
why
think.
can't we have a Zoe Bowie headliner 6 nights a week
Yeah.
in this town? Because it's party music and people enjoy it.
I think there's a lot of shows that I would like to see come back in this city. We're going to have to work on that.
Yeah, I think
See
so
what we can
too.
do.
Isn't it? We all love the shows still. We haven't, even though we live here, we haven't got bored with. We still love the shows.
No,
Or I do.
absolutely.
Right.
And you know what? I love love the performers who aren't in the stratosphere, where you have to pay $200 or $300 for a ticket.
Oh, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Because to be honest with you, they're every bit as good as those that have reached the stratosphere level. It's just that they haven't had the same exposure. I don't know what the deal is really, but I really do believe that there are so many talented people out there that are just undiscovered. And I think sometimes that's what happens, Ninon, is that these people get discovered, then they're demanding the gigantic salaries. I know one hotel where they brought in a play, beautiful play, musical, but they overextended themselves on what it cost to put on that performance. And it lasted several years, but eventually went to the wayside, and the real reason was it wasn't making money. Not that it wasn't fantastic. It was a fantastic show.
But the price of the ticket.
But the price of the tickets couldn't keep up with what it cost to produce the show, with the costumes, the layout for the show itself, the entertainers, and I think that's what happened. So I think we need to start going backwards again. Bring it back to where we have more of the lounge act and true entertainment.
But you can walk in there and you can just sit down, have a drink, and you don't have to stay 2 hours. You can just stay there as long as you want and just have a couple of drinks and leave and go to another show. I think that used to be fabulous.
Yeah.
It was. Sam Butera and the Wildest. You know, when I first moved here, it's like, wow, that's what we need to get back to. And like you said, all the talent that we have currently in town can fill those showrooms or the bars, lounges and stuff and put on a great show. It's not going to be very costly for the casino or the corporation.
Right. The cost is right.
But they need to actually reward the entertainment like they did years ago. Yeah. If you were in a group and you were at a lounge, you made anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 a week as a performer.
Right.
And that could be a horn player in one of the bands.
Yeah.
And now it's like struggling to make $200 in a night, and all these talented musicians that are out there, mainly guitarists, and there's plenty of them, they have to work 2-3 bands to make a decent living.
Well, we interviewed someone.
We did, but also don't they have this like 3-wall, 2-wall, 1-wall, that the poor people, that are going to perform have to pay for that? Well, the time they get paid to go in there, and then they've got to pay for the room. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous.
Well, we had one lady on who was a dancer in Folies Bergère's.
Yes.
Carlin.
Yes.
And she was a dancer for years, and when she started out, she was making $500-$600 a day. When she left the industry, she was making $60 to $80 a day.
Yep.
So you would think you would be making more, but it was the opposite of that. It was actually total opposite.
It's completely opposite nowadays.
So maybe this will change it. Maybe with what's going on and what's happened, maybe this will all change.
Well, you know what? Maybe you wouldn't necessarily have to change for the money, as long as everybody's making a decent living and doing what they enjoy doing.
Right.
And I think that's where you have to find a happy medium, because you have to make sure that you've got it to where the hotels can afford you, sustain and keeping you, put on a great show, and not worry about, oh my God, now we have to make $2 million tonight off of sales because we have this huge entertainer to pay for. Right. Not that there's anything wrong with that if they can get it. I'm not saying that.
Sure.
I'm just saying that it would be nice to see us go back to the old Vegas where you could really and truly enjoy a show for, not an arm and a leg.
Right.
But they also have a 2-drink minimum. The drinks are like $18, $20 a drink.
Oh, outrageous.
That's just one person. That's $40 right there.
Yeah.
But I think things will change.
I do.
And I think we're all looking for
And as negative as COVID has been, there are some good things coming out of this, and I think that might be one of the great things coming out of this.
I see a lot of good things.
Yeah,
a lot of good things.
I was working for a smaller venue here in town, and I did some of my show and also hosted karaoke for 4 hours, and I had a great following we brought in, and they were making between $1,200 and $1,400 in 4 hours, which is something they weren't making in a day sometimes. So they were very appreciative, and I thanked all my followers that came out that participated and had a great time. And that was a great venue. I got called 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the 17th and asked if I was going to perform that night. I said, absolutely. I get 5 minutes away from the venue, and they said, well, we decided not to open.
Aww.
So I had to go get my equipment anyway, but I had 2 weddings set up, one for Saturday, one for Sunday, for good friends, and those had to get canceled as well because they were other establishments in town. So
we don't think of that, do we?
No.
All these weddings and all these different things that you're getting paid for, and then at the last minute you're cancelled out.
So we're talking about shows on the Strip, and here this is not just the shows on the Strip. This is happening
weddings.
with. Yeah.
No, it's all over the community. There are some opening up, but not enough to keep everyone that's out of work to be comfortable.
So the next time when Vegas opens up, someone's got to get you in a showroom somewhere.
I'm all game.
We'll work on
and we're going to have you back on the show and talk about the next level.
There you go.
Okay?
Yeah, maybe I'll have to bring a portable unit and start doing shows at the Las Vegas sign or something to let people know, got a captive audience because they're trying to get
that's
a photo.
Not a bad idea. So.
Let them know that Louis is back.
Louis is back. That's right. Louis is back.
I did go out there and donate taps. They had taps across the nation at a certain time, and I went out there on Memorial Day
and did that.
And there was a flag off in the distance, which was perfect. And there were probably 18 bikers that were there on motorcycles, and they all stood up and they all thanked me, and they were all veterans. And it's like, I can't thank you folks enough.
Yeah.
This is the only way I can give back.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me this.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Isn't that wonderful? to
Yeah,
feel
so
that way?
Dennis, where can we learn about who you are, what you do?
I'm on
Where's the website?
Facebook currently. I'm redoing a website. My Facebook is Dennes D'Satchmo. That's D''SATCHMO Keating, Keating. I'm also D'Satchmo Las Vegas at Gmail. And you can always contact me on phone. If I don't answer, please leave a message. I will return your call because all the calls are extremely important, even if it's just to say hello, because that's important. It's 702-741-9385.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, Dennis, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
Ninon, we can find you on...
You can find me on Vegas Live with Ninon. I'm not giving my phone number out.
Oh,
though,
come on.
But you can go to Facebook, Instagram, and don't forget to go to YouTube. And YouTube, Vegas Live with Ninon. Don't forget to subscribe.
And then you're also on the All Aspects Radio Network.
Yes.
That's allaspectsradionetwork.com.
Yes.
You have 2 shows on that network.
Yeah, and then I have another show called Ninon Speak. Dennis was on the show, so we are in quite a few places. I also have a little antique booth.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I also
that's
do
right.
real estate. You want to know the whole thing?
Absolutely.
That's a whole show in itself.
There you go. Yeah, we're busy.
Well, thank you so much, Dennis, for being on our show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. And call in, see what's going on at Quirky Minds Media.
That's
There
right.
you
Thank
are.
you.
Courtney
Join you.
Mines Media and James Kelly.
Right. Join us next week for another show. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Dennis.